Can Rachmanov pretty much beat anyone? So he thinks. Take a look.
Kamaru Usman,
Yes.
Leon Edwards,
Yes.
Chimaev,
Yes.
Makachev,
Yes.
Francis Ngannou,
No.
Tyson Fury.
Tyson Fury. Yes.
Yeah, you beat Tyson.
MMA fight.
Mike Tyson.
Yes, конечно, лучше.
How was that process doing that? Because it's actually a lot harder than I first expected.
First, Alex, you're a freaking badass, dude. Islam being on your back, you're talking the whole time, you're punching behind yourself, dude. You kept your composure, you didn't freak out. Most people would have panicked. You're in some serious shape, dude. Very impressive.
Appreciate it.
Jon Jones knows greatness when he sees it miles away, and he was quick to let Alexander Volkanovski know how he feels about him and the great's recent accomplishment. There has also been a lot of talk about who the best pound-for-pound fighter is upon Jones' impending return to the octagon. But Jones was quick to downplay that debate, stating that there is room at the top for both men, and he also expressed what he is after at this stage of his career. Let's listen to the man himself.
I'm fighting to be the greatest fighter ever, not to be the pound-for-pound best right now. We have two different motivations, and I think there's room for both of us at the top.
It is quite admirable to see this kind of acknowledgement and respect from two of the best fighters in the history of the UFC, a true representation of what the sport is all about. Jon Jones attacks Ciryl Gane again ahead of their heavyweight clash. Jon Jones took the opportunity once again to criticize Ciryl Gane's habits. This time, it was the fact that Gane was filmed playing video games in an episode of the UFC embedded series, and he compared these actions to what he is doing ahead of their clash. Jones has always been known for his preparedness and takes pride in the fact that he puts in the time to study all his opponents. He goes on to say that I'm sitting here focusing on combat. He's out here playing video games. Let's take a listen.
I hear that Ciryl Gane's soccer team, his online team is ranked top 60 in the world. I'm sitting here focusing on combat. He's out here playing video games. The job is to have no mercy at the end of the day. Whether he is ready for this opportunity or not, there's somewhere inside of him that he thinks there's a chance that he's going to take food off my family's table. He's going to destroy my legacy. And that's something I take very personal, and there's no mercy.
Bo Nickal reveals he was wrestling around with Jones for fun ahead of UFC 285. Bo Nickal has been a fan of the UFC since he was a kid and always viewed Jon Jones as the kind of fighter he wanted to be. When he learned that he would be fighting alongside Jones at UFC 285, the two-time Contender Series winner was very happy. This past week, the pair met at the UFC Performance Institute and had the opportunity to wrestle briefly during their final training session ahead of this week's fight. Bo went on to say, "He tried to take me down, but I obviously stuffed that and ran around and got behind him and stuff." Again, very grateful to be on the card, and he's definitely a guy that, his fighting style, I'd like to emulate. He had a pretty strong grip, but overall, it was just straight wrestling, so I had a big advantage. Let's take a look at their exchange, and we can all be the judge of how it all went down.
It's all like a trick. It don't feel right. I feel set up. See, Bo, there's again. There you go again, Bo. There you go again, Bo. No, I ain't one of those heavyweights. See, this is risk control. See, I gotta teach you how to hand fight, Bo.
Oh!
We need someone to get hurt.
Daniel Cormier says Jones does not have one-punch knockout power at heavyweight to finish Ciryl Gane. As Jon Jones embarks on his quest to become double champ and win the heavyweight belt this weekend, Daniel Cormier has expressed his concerns on the challenges that the new weight class may pose for the former light heavyweight champion. Cormier stated that one of the things that stood out to him in their two fights was that Jones did not punch very hard. He also said he will never match Ciryl Gane in the punching power. He is going to need his skill in order to do this. Let's hear what else Cormier had to say about Jones.
I think he's going to have to use his skill, Ryan, because I'll tell you this right now. Jones did not punch very hard. Like, that was one of the things that stood out about him. Now, he kneed hard, he kicked hard, he elbowed hard. He did a lot of things very well, but in terms of his punching ability, he didn't have, like, jarring power. Now, gaining 30 pounds, maybe he gets a bit of a heavier puncher, but he will never match Ciryl Gane in terms of the punching power. He's going to need his skill in order to do this.
Former champion Francis Ngannou fires back at Jon Jones ahead of Jones' heavyweight title fight. In a recent interview by RMC Sport, Jon Jones stated that Francis Ngannou deserved criticism for not signing with the UFC to fight him after being offered the biggest contract in UFC history.
I don't think I deserve any criticism. I'm here. I'm here. Francis had the opportunity to face me, and he opted out of the opportunity. If anyone should be criticized, it's Francis Ngannou.
Shortly thereafter, in an interview with Mike Bones from MMA Junkie, the former heavyweight champion was quick to end the verbal exchange while talking about fighters' pay by saying, "Personally, I don't have a problem with Jon Jones," he said. "I think even though we will always be a potential opponent, I think in this fight, we could have been in the same side." Let's listen to the Predator himself.
For a long time ago, I think Jon Jones was like kind of like stepping up for himself, and then you kind of see that I'm like, oh, maybe this is something that could be good, you know. Then he shifted. I think even though we will always be a potential opponent, I think in this fight we could have been in the same side instead of like fighting against each other, which is exactly what the system wants, you know, to divide the most, to conquer.
What do you all think about this? Was this a missed opportunity by the Predator, or did he do the right thing standing by what he believed? Let us know in the comments. UFC 285 main card preview and what to watch for. Top-ranked welterweights take action at UFC 285 when super prospect Shavkat Rakhmonov faces Geoff Neal in what should be an early favorite for Fight of the Night. Shavkat is a fan favorite and a potential champion in the making, while Neal is a really solid prospect that has had his ups and downs but will be the toughest opponent to date for Rakhmonov. The co-main event features the reigning women's flyweight champion Valentina Shevchenko against Alexa Grasso, who has been wreaking havoc in the division and has won 4 fights in a row. We will see how the Bullet does in this challenge. But the truth is that besides her last fight with Talia Santos, she really hasn't faced any real threat in a long time. And finally, we have the main event of the evening with the highly anticipated return of Jon Jones making his debut at heavyweight against the former interim heavyweight champion Ciryl Gane with the heavyweight title on the line. A lot of build-up has been created for Bones' return. Let's see if it ends up being a favorable outcome for him, or if Bon Gamin ruins his welcome back party. That's all for today's video. If you want to know the latest UFC news, subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications bell, and click the like button so you don't miss any details about the upcoming fights. Thanks for watching. See you soon.